Daughters of the Frozen Forest. Chapter 1. The Frozen Forest and its Heirs. The Frozen Forest, stretching for thousands of miles, was the home of an ancient lineage of winter keepers. Here, among the eternal snows and frozen trees, magic was an inseparable part of life. But this magic was cold, merciless, like the forest itself, which was as beautiful as it was dangerous. Alina stood on the edge of an icy cliff, watching the sunset that painted the snowy expanses in shades of crimson and gold. Every evening she came here to remind herself of the burden she bore. Since the disappearance of her mother, the Winter Queen, she had become the primary guardian of the frozen forest. But despite her resolve, Alina's heart was filled with unease. She knew that Alicia, her younger sister, did not share her convictions. Alicia had always been different, dreamy, gentle, seeing more in the world than just eternal winter. This difference was becoming more evident with each passing day, threatening to sever their bond and destroy everything they knew. Alicia, unlike her sister, avoided watchtowers and responsibilities. She spent her days studying ancient books and exploring magical paths long forgotten by people. She was drawn to the idea that the world beyond the frozen forest could offer something more than an endless cycle of winter. However, her studies led to unexpected discoveries. In one of the abandoned caves, Alicia found an ancient scroll that spoke of a magic powerful enough to alter the very nature of the frozen forest. She understood that this knowledge was dangerous, but a seed of hope sprouted in her heart. Perhaps she could change the fate of their world, freeing it from eternal winter. Thus begins a story where magic and duty intertwine, where family bonds and personal ambitions clash, and where choices will change everything. Chapter 2. The Mystery of the Queen's Disappearance. It had been several months since the Winter Queen, mother of Alina and Alicia, had vanished without a trace. In the frozen forest, this event became a mystery that haunted the minds of its inhabitants. Alina assumed leadership, trying to maintain order and traditions, but Alicia was consumed by the feeling that there was more behind their mother's disappearance. Day by day, Alicia delved deeper into the study of ancient texts, finding fragmented references to the past of their lineage and to the magic hidden in the frozen forest. One of these texts was the ancient scroll she found in the abandoned cave. This scroll had been created long before their mother's birth and contained mentions of a power capable of changing the very essence of winter. Despite Elena's warnings, Alicia decides to investigate this power. She meets Matthias, a renegade mage who had long been exiled from the frozen forest for his experiments with magic. Matthias tells Alicia that the power mentioned in the scroll can not only control winter, but also destroy the very balance of the elements if used incorrectly. At first, Alicia doubts his words, but her thirst for knowledge and desire to learn the truth about her mother push her toward further exploration. Matthias, seeing her determination, offers his help in exchange for a chance to share power over the frozen forest with her. As Alicia begins to trust Matthias, Alina, sensing that her younger sister is hiding something important, decides to follow her. She finds Alicia and Matthias in one of the forgotten corners of the forest, where mages once performed their rituals. There, she witnesses Matthias attempting to awaken the ancient power, using Alicia as a conduit. The conflict between the sisters intensifies, Alina insists that such experiments are dangerous and could lead to disastrous consequences. But Alicia, enchanted by the new knowledge and the possibility of changing her fate, refuses to listen. At that moment, Alina realizes that her sister is drifting further away from her and that Matthias's influence could destroy their bond forever. The chapter ends with Alicia deciding to continue her studies with Matthias, despite her sister's warnings. Alina returns to the castle alone, realizing that she must not only protect the frozen forest, but also save her sister from a danger she does not yet comprehend. Chapter 3: Choosing a Path. Weeks passed after Alicia fully committed to Matthias's path. During this time, she delved into the study of ancient magic that could change the frozen forest. Matthias became her mentor, revealing knowledge to her that had long been forbidden to those who upheld their lineage's traditions. But the deeper Alicia went into her studies, the more she felt a sense of dissonance. The magic she was learning seemed unnatural, alien to the teachings she had received from her mother. Yet, the desire to change the world, to free it from eternal winter, pushed her toward new discoveries. Meanwhile, Alina, back at the castle, could not remain idle. She knew that if nothing was done, the consequences could be catastrophic not only for the frozen forest, but for the entire world. Alina decides to venture deep into the forest, to the elders of their lineage, to find answers to the questions that troubled her. She hopes to find a way to save her sister and restore the balance of magic. When Alina reaches the elders, they tell her of an ancient prophecy that foretold that one of the Winter Queen's daughters would embody destruction, while the other would bring salvation. This prophecy confuses Alina, who had always believed that her duty was to protect the forest and her sister. Now she is faced with a choice between duty and family, between tradition and love for Alicia. At the same time, Alicia continues down the path Matthias has laid out for her. But one night, she dreams of her mother, the Winter Queen, warning her of the danger posed by the power Matthias is awakening. Alicia wakes up in a cold sweat, realizing that her decisions could lead to disaster. The moment comes when the sisters' paths cross again. This time, the choice they must make will be decisive for their fate, and the fate of the entire frozen forest. Chapter 4: The Struggle for Power. After the sisters met again and realized the depth of the differences between them, the tension reached its peak. Alicia, still torn between duty to her family and her desires to change the fate of the frozen forest, begins to understand that her actions could lead to catastrophe. But at the same time, she is not ready to abandon the path she has taken under Matthias's influence. Alina, on the other hand, feels that she must prevent the use of the power her sister seeks to awaken at any cost. She sees the danger looming over their world and knows that if Alicia continues down this path, it will lead to the destruction of the frozen forest and everything they know. A tense dialogue ensues between the sisters, during which each tries to convince the other of their righteousness. Alina appeals to reason, arguing that the magic Matthias is awakening disrupts the ancient balance on which the entire world depends. Alicia, however, believes that the world needs change, and that they can bring something greater than eternal winter. Matthias, watching this, decides that it is time to act. He steps into the conversation, offering Alicia the final break from family traditions and the chance to seize power over the frozen forest together with him. He promises her power and freedom from the shackles of the past, which only deepens her inner conflict. At the height of this struggle, when words are no longer enough, a magical confrontation begins. Alina uses the power passed down from her mother to protect the frozen forest. Alicia, driven by her newfound knowledge, tries to harness the ancient magic to create a new order. The battle between the sisters becomes a symbol of the conflict between the old and the new, tradition and change. The frozen forest begins to react to their magic, awakening ancient forces hidden within its depths. Winds become uncontrollable, trees crack and break under the pressure of the elements, and the magic that once served for good becomes destructive. The chapter ends with both sisters exhausted, and the magic around them spiraling out of control. They both realize that if they continue this battle, the consequences could be unpredictable and catastrophic for the entire frozen forest. Chapter 5: The Revelation of the True Threat. After the magical battle between the sisters subsided, the forest and the magic around them were left in complete chaos. Trees were shattered, the ground cracked beneath their feet, and the magic they had summoned continued to wreak havoc. Alicia and Alina realized that their confrontation had only made things worse, and if they did not stop fighting each other, the frozen forest and everything they held dear would be destroyed. Alina, her strength nearly depleted, approached Alicia. There was no anger in her eyes, only despair and a plea. She reminded Alicia that their mother had always warned them that magic was not just power, but a responsibility, and that it must be wielded with wisdom, not selfish motives. Alicia, still trembling from the effects of the magic she had tried to use, began to understand that Matthias had only exploited her desires for his own purposes. With each of his lessons and guidance, she had become more and more entranced by the illusion of control, when in reality, he had planned to seize control of the frozen forest for himself. At that moment, the spirit of their mother, the Winter Queen, appeared before them once again. Her form was bright and cold, but her eyes were filled with pain for her daughters. She revealed that Matthias had been exiled not just for his ambitions, but for his attempt to awaken a power that could disrupt the balance of the elements. This power had been sealed away centuries ago, and was the very reason for the Winter Queen's disappearance. The spirit of their mother warned them that Matthias was already too close to his goal, and if they did not join forces to stop him, he would be able to completely dominate the frozen forest and plunge the world into eternal winter. Alicia, realizing the depth of her mistake, decided to abandon the path Matthias had offered her. Together with Alina, they began to prepare for the final confrontation, knowing that only together could they stop the looming threat. The chapter ends with the sisters deciding to combine their powers and cease the destructive magic in order to restore balance to the frozen forest and stop Matthias. Chapter 6: The Final Battle and the Queen's Return. Night had fallen, and the frozen forest was shrouded in a deep silence, broken only by the sound of the wind cutting through the frozen trees. Alina and Alicia, gathering their courage, made their way to the very heart of the forest, where an ancient temple once stood, where the power Matthias sought to awaken had been sealed. As they approached, the sense of impending danger grew stronger. The air was thick with magic, chaotic and untamed. This was the very power their mother had warned them about, and it now threatened to destroy not only the frozen forest, but the entire world. When the sisters reached the temple, they saw Matthias standing atop the ancient altar. In his hands was an orb filled with dark energy, pulsing and emitting a sinister light. Matthias, consumed by his goal, did not notice the sisters' approach until the very last moment. Alina and Alicia, united by a common purpose, began to use their magic to stop him. Alina, embodying protection and stability, called upon the forces of the frozen forest to bind the energy around the altar and prevent Matthias from completing the ritual. Alicia, who had finally understood the danger inherent in the ancient magic, used her knowledge to sever the connection between Matthias and the orb. However, Matthias was too powerful, and it soon became clear that their combined efforts were not enough. At that moment, their mother, the Winter Queen, appeared before them once again, this time not as a spirit, but in full physical form. With her help, the sisters were able to unite their powers and destroy the orb, releasing the magic that now obeyed them. Matthias, deprived of his power, tried to flee but was stopped by the Winter Queen, who sealed him in a magical prison made of the very ice of the frozen forest. This prison was created to ensure that Matthias could never again harm this world. After the danger had passed, the Winter Queen turned to her daughters. She told them that they had both proven their strength and wisdom, and that the frozen forest was now in safe hands. She entrusted them with maintaining balance and protecting the magic that permeated this world. The final scene depicts the frozen forest, recovering from the destruction. Alina and Alicia stand together, knowing that their bond has grown stronger and that their duty is to protect this world, as their mother had done before them. The end. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you for your attention.